Hey guys, Melissa Minassian here, back with another Melissa Minute. So as you can see today I have another special guest. I love these guest segments on my Melissa Minute videos. Today is an extra special guest though, because this is one of my best friends, Jess Johnson. So welcome to my living room, just chilling, kicking it on my couch like we normally do, girl talking. So mainly just wanted to invite you in though into one of our normal sessions. Because it almost is like therapy, let's be real.
It really is. We pack a lot of time into like the little bits of therapy sessions we get together. It's like bang, bang, we get it all out, we work through it, and all right, gotta go. Life is busy. And
so I did a video recently with Myron Pierce where we talked about dreaming and big picture and legacy. And I think from there, Jess and I were chatting, and something that really resonated with you was kind of more the minute, the day-to-day, and just ways to really, I guess, protect our joy, our peace.
Our time, our energy.
On the smaller scale, on the opposite end of that. So I guess what with that has kind of been resonating with you?
Yeah, so the thing that we sort of are going to revolve the message around is really boundaries, and that word alone I think can be a little triggering for some people. Me for sure. I'm definitely somebody who throughout my life has seen a common theme of having this conflict with boundaries, this inability to set a boundary and uphold a boundary. And I guess that reflects in behavior such as like people pleasing and being afraid of hurting people's feelings, and just being really sort of compliant, and ultimately not pursuing your truest passions, your truest expression, your truest self. So those big dreams, those out of the box thinking, beliefs, ways of living kind of get downsized or minimized completely, because there is this fear that it's going to be unsettling. It's going to rock the boat. People may not understand, ultimately. And so I think for me, this idea of like just being able to set even the smallest boundaries in our lives is like going to snowball into us being able to make those big life plans and those big dreams that we have, because we've established an internal structure. I think that's what it is for me. It's this internal structure.
The processes.
That says like, this is the line where my time is important to me. This is my values and my morals, and this is what I'm willing to give my energy and my effort to on a day-to-day basis, so that I can be available for the bigger decisions in my life, the bigger events. Absolutely.
Which, I mean, as an entrepreneur, and Jess is a business owner as well, she doesn't believe she is, but she's a creative as well. She's very creative. She's like, I'm not a creative. I'm like, yes, you are.
Yes, we are all creative in our own way.
Yes. And as well, I mean, even as a highly sensitive person. I think boundaries, you can't do anything without them. No. We can't get anything done. Because, I mean, all of us are getting texts all day, every day, emails, I mean, a million different voices. Everyone wants something at the same time. So, to even have that structure of like, this is what I value, and this can wait. And it's not that you don't value it; it can wait.
Exactly right. You do have to prioritize, and I don't know if you struggle so much with that. I know you have a million things on your plate, and so there are things coming at you from a million directions, coming from the outside in. But then you also have your own internal stuff to put out, and there's this constant balance of like, where do I draw the line on my priorities of what's really important to me? And I find with you that you are much better, and this isn't a negative, is that I don't feel like you feel pressured to respond to texts immediately, which is something. I'm an anxious person. I'm a highly sensitive person. I cannot handle not responding to a message. Like, I feel an obligation to people. Again, people pleaser,
immediately,
lack of boundaries. Right? Yes, that is a major lack of boundaries that I hold. I feel that anxiety. So I have to turn off all notifications on my phone. I have to put my phone to the side and be like, I have another thing I need to do right now. I have something else that needs my time. Otherwise, that pressure to perform, that pressure to be and show up for everybody else and all the other outside stimulations in the world will suck the life out of me so fast, you know? And that's a boundary that I personally just have to set for myself because I know this.
And I think that's like a foundational thing. Even when I started therapy, it was like 2010-ish, but I was in very high conflict marriage. I came to therapy just immediately. She was like, they usually start, right? Like, why are you here today? What would you like to achieve? And I remember I just started bawling. And my first thing out of my mouth was like, I'm broken. And what is wrong with me? Something's wrong with me. Like, I'm not doing it right. And so I think she quickly, like, one of the first things I learned about in therapy was boundaries. And I had never been told anything about that. I'd never been told I can say no.
No,
I
never. Especially as a woman.
Yeah, a very codependent.
Yes.
I mean, even in my childhood, like my whole family and I, we've all done therapy and we're in a healthy spot now and it's been so good for us and life-giving. But we all were like super codependent and had no idea. And we all were very enmeshed even emotionally. Like everyone was monitoring everyone else's emotions. And I mean, it was just like this constant anxiety fest. So, but the thing, like just to kind of baseline it for everyone, boundaries, you're responsible for you, your emotions, your reactions.
Right.
And really, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, boundaries define responsibility. They say, this is my responsibility and that is your responsibility. They're like property lines around our hearts, our souls, our bodies, our minds, you know, to say like, I am 100% responsible for guarding and protecting this space, this entity that makes me me. And I'm going to let you be 100% responsible for you, you know? But I feel like we grow up in this world, and unfortunately I feel like it is more of a burden on women, is that we feel like the most loving thing we can do is be obligated to certain aspects of life because there are so many shoulds. You should be this, you should do that. And we grow up in this society, in this environment.
Be a good girl.
Yes. Yes.
Good girl, Jess, right? Like,
it's so debilitating when it comes to learning to understand yourself and to show up in the world as yourself when there are all of these expectations of what you should do. And if you don't do them, then there's something wrong with you. And you will most likely receive some backlash or some criticism or judgment or maybe just some, you know, silent passive aggressiveness from somebody because you're not living up to their expectation of you, really, is all that, you know, all that is.
Yeah. Which I think we've had a lot of conversations, you and I, around just becoming our true selves, doing things that maybe felt scary to us, but we knew maybe we're aligned with where we were going. We're true to ourselves. Yeah.
Living in our own truth. And I think part of being able to set boundaries, it only can really happen if you do know yourself. And, you know, those boundaries, they define us, like our edges, the boundaries around us help other people to understand us because they can see like, oh, I know who this person is. I know what they stand for. I know what they're willing to tolerate. I know how to treat them. You know, I know what they believe.
It gives people peace of mind, right?
It does.
It like lessens the anxiety for sure.
It like builds trust and integrity.
Yeah.
Like, for other people looking in at us, it allows them to feel safer. Because what's like more unsettling than somebody who's like unpredictable? You don't really know where they stand. And so then when we have those boundaries and we actually uphold them with ourselves, we create our own like self-trust and inner integrity with ourselves.
Well, and to that point, learning how to set a boundary in a way that is not aggressive.
Right.
How to have that hard conversation or just how to redirect somebody or something.
Yeah.
In a really kind way. A lot of times I don't think people even realize you redirected them.
Right.
Because you learned how to do it correctly. But
Yeah. Well, and you're not defending it. You know what I mean? I think that's when it starts to feel aggressive, is if you feel like you need to defend
and prove
your
to
boundary.
Someone why,
Yes, but you don't. You actually just get to say, this is my boundary. And I understand if you don't understand or agree, or if it possibly hurts your feelings, but it's okay because I do get to choose. And I think a lot of times we think it's loving to extend ourselves beyond our boundaries when we're internally building resentment so that we can have outward compliance. So circling back around to this like big dream life plan thing, it's like we think by staying within the lines of our, society or expectations, our family structure or whatever, living in a way that makes others comfortable, we think that we are doing the world a favor,
But you're doing everyone a disservice.
You're doing everyone
Your
a
bravery
disservice.
gives other people bravery to be brave.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
It's not loving at all to silence yourself, to lose your voice, to
dishonor
compromise.
yourself.
Yes, dishonor yourself. Be compliant. I mean, the society, the world we live in now, that's a big buzzword.
Or you're going to get
compliant.
canceled.
Yes. I mean, the last thing I think any of us want to do is to not speak up about something we strongly believe in and be interpreted as being compliant, which just means we're going along with what's happening around us without speaking up or separating ourselves from it, which in turn we're agreeing with. And there are many things I don't think any of us would necessarily want to agree with that's going on. But because we have not set a strong boundary around this is my line and I'm not willing to cross it, in turn we appear compliant when we're very much not intending that, that way.
So what would you say to the people pleaser out there? And we both are recovering people pleasers. We get it. So someone maybe that is having a hard time setting boundaries, they're maybe feeling that resentment, they're feeling that anxiety, they don't know where to begin. As a recovering people pleaser yourself, like where do they even begin? How do you start?
I think you start by knowing yourself. You start by drawing the lines around your life and what's important to you. And then you realize the treasure that your soul is. And I think you innately begin to want to protect that. I think that comes with knowing yourself.
And loving yourself.
You found a treasure and you don't want to lose it. You know what I mean? You don't want to compromise it. And I think that's the beginning of it. I think when we don't know ourselves and we're not even really sure where we stand with things, it's just real easy to kind of be wishy-washy and go with the flow about things that are important to us, and then we don't even realize later on we've compromised a major, a major part of us. So I think the first part is just absolutely getting to know yourself and what's important to you. And at the end of the day, you either disappoint other people or you disappoint yourself. And so,
who's more important?
What's more important at the end of the day? You can only live for you.
Well, and I feel like when you find yourself, it's not an easy journey.
No.
So I think it's so hard fought.
That road traveled. I mean, that
and once you find peace, you're like, that was so hard to get.
So worth,
So then you are willing to fight for it.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that's a huge part of it. For me, it's been really like the switch for me is like once I found a place that I was like, I'm willing to protect this because I'm so sure. I spent many, many years being just, I don't really know. I don't really know how I feel about certain things. I don't really know who I am. I don't know what's important to me. To getting to a place where some things became real clear and I was able to at least around those things say, I'm not willing to compromise on that. That is a boundary I have to draw. And that's a decision that I feel like in the grand scheme of my life is part of my calling. It's part of, my purpose here on the earth. And so if I compromise that because it made somebody uncomfortable, it's, it's not fair. Not fair to any of us.
And that's the beauty of boundaries too, is that you learn I'm not responsible for your reaction.
No.
And usually there's backlash. Usually people don't get on board right away. Like, okay, great, I'll be respectful. It takes them a minute. So
it's the hardest part for me.
I know.
It's so hard. I get it. I mean, and it typically comes from our loved ones. Those who love us the most tend to have the strongest opposition to our choices. Whatever, yes, because by setting a boundary, we're changing a dynamic. We're creating a new pattern that people have to follow in order to engage with us. And for people who know us best, that's incredibly confusing and conflicting and maybe makes them uncomfortable. So
challenges their beliefs, whatever. Yeah,
absolutely, because they have an idea of you already and a way of interacting with you already. So going against the grain, particularly with our family and closest, confidants. And that's where our boundaries will be challenged the most. 100%.
So welcome, guys, to the lightning round with my lovely guest, Jess Johnson, today. So question number 1, let the thunder begin. Reflecting on your journey, what most shocks you about your life now?
Oh, geez. Melissa and I have been through a lot, so it's a loaded question.
Yes.
The most shocking thing about my life, it doesn't look anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything like what I thought it would.
Yeah.
Nothing that my younger self thought I had planned. I'm like a logical pragmatic person. I thought, if I do these things, this will be the result.
Cookie cutter. Yeah.
Yes. I thought I follow all the rules. I do the things I'm supposed to do with reason. I would get the result, and nothing.
The equation didn't work out.
Yes, it didn't work. I'm a math person,
math.
and that math does not work. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
You can't live somebody else's life. The math does not work.
Yes. So what would you tell then? Well, and to premise this question, so I first met Jess in high school in Auburn, Nebraska. And more backstory, we both were dating boys that were in a band. So we had a lot of time, I think, on the couch, listening to them practice in the background. Sometimes well, sometimes horribly. But we had some good girl talk, and I got to know her then. So, so what would you tell, though, your 16-year-old self?
Oh, man. I would tell my 16-year-old self that, like I said, knowing who you are individually, separate from the world, separate from those around you, from your peers, from your family, like you as your own being.
Yeah.
That really is the purpose, is the goal of this life. And I feel like I floundered for many years living other people's expectations of me.
Yeah.
You know, living my parents particularly, you know, but also my peers. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, and I think all teenage young adults, you know, can relate to that of just feeling like you're going along with what others are doing far more than you're setting yourself apart. And I wish I'd set myself apart more at that time.
And had the bravery to do that.
Yeah, I had the bravery to live differently.
Yeah.
But, you know, we get time.
We live and we learn.
We figure it out eventually.
Yes.
Sooner the better. Gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So along those lines, what piece of encouragement would you like to leave with our audience today?
I would say the time you spend drawing lines around what you value most will reflect in every area of your life, your relationships, your job, your parenting. All of those areas of life get cleaner, I think would probably be the safest word. Like, they just get cleaner. That when our lines are blurred, things are messy. We're not sure how to relate to others, and they're not sure how to relate to us. And the more that we can be clear about those things, just the cleaner and the more simple our life and our relationships become.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you
You're
again
welcome. Thank
so
you.
much for joining me.
Yeah.
Absolutely adored this one. And this was totally out of her comfort zone. She's a rock star. So thank you so much.
We did it.
Yes. As you guys can attest, that she has so much worth and so much to say. And I'm
thank
so
you.
grateful for you sharing some of that with us today. Yeah. And as well, guys, while you're at it, don't forget to dream boldly, love extravagantly, live authentically, because there are purposes and plans for your life that only you were perfectly designed to fulfill. Do you know someone who needs to hear this? Please like, share, subscribe, and as always, hit me up with any of your real estate or renovation needs. I got the hookup, and I'm here to help. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be great, and make it a great day.